Hey there, so as I promised a few weeks ago, I told you that I would do all of the TMEA, Texas Music Educators Association, etudes that are required for the TMEA conference next year, both clarinet and bass clarinet. And as I was looking at the bass clarinet list, I thought to myself, these look kind of familiar. I think I've done them before, and I looked back in my catalog, and yes, I did. A long time ago. So what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to pull one of those videos out of the archive back from 2011 when I talk about Rose 32 Studies number 3. All of what I said then is valuable and applicable now, so without further ado, here is that rebroadcast, if you want to call it, back from 2011 when I looked a lot younger. So this is the third of the Rose 32 etudes. These slow etudes are such a bear on your face. When I play these, I think I try to think as much as possible of keeping a clear sound, no fuzz, as little spit as possible. Though that's sometimes not easy to do, especially in the wintertime, or heck, anytime. So, and especially in these piano and pianissimo sections, the way that I am able to keep my sound as clear as possible is not biting. Now, what do I mean by biting? The embouchure that you have that you have on the mouthpiece can either be with your corners out. A lot of teachers and people think about corners out like this and keeping a flat table like that. My feeling is the corners out. What happens is when you do this, it pulls your jaw up and it starts to pinch the reed, and you'll get squeaks and you get all sorts of bleh in your sound. I think of the exact opposite. I think of the corners of my mouth in to the mouthpiece. I think of my whole mouth, my whole embouchure, as kind of a rubber band around the mouthpiece. And so the corners of my mouth squeeze and grip the side of the mouthpiece. And what that does is it makes sure that I never am biting. Because when you go like oh, it brings your jaw down. When you go like e, it brings your jaw up. So think oh, and it's going to start to really hurt, especially if you're not used to doing that with the corners of your mouth. So thinking that way and always pushing in, you're going to find that your sound is going to improve enormously. It's going to open up because it's not going to sound as pinched because your jaw makes that pinched sound when it's pushing up. It's a very strong muscle, your jaw muscles. You have to counteract that with the corners of your mouth. Okay, so a little technical thing I want to talk about, that trill in the second measure from the G sharp to A. When you're playing trills like this or doing anything with this finger, which has to, it has three keys to work, right? It's got the F sharp, the G sharp, and the A key. Especially when you're doing a trill, you don't want to be using your finger muscles to kind of go G sharp to A like that. That's really an inefficient thing. You're never going to be able to trill quickly. It just sounds flabby and, well, crappy. What I do is I actually keep my finger so that it can touch both keys at the same time, and I wiggle my wrist, because you can do this pretty fast, right? It looks kind of weird, but that's actually how, as opposed to, it's all on the wrist. So that's how I do that. And you don't have to do it that quickly, but you're going to find that if you use your wrist to get those kinds of trills, much, much easier than if you try to use your finger muscles. The last thing I want to talk about is, you'll notice that the first theme comes back at the sort of halfway through this etude, but it comes back with ornaments. And the thing I want to talk about is the ornaments. Music has a hierarchy, in my opinion. Some notes are important, and some notes are not important. Those not important notes are these ornaments. If you give them too much weight, your piece starts to sound kind of pedantic and flabby. Let me show you what I mean. This is the second iteration, when the theme comes back. Every note has the same importance. It doesn't. You don't hear the theme anymore. Remember, that's the theme. When you play it that way, where you give the importance to the notes of the theme and you kind of relax into those ornaments, you can actually still hear the theme, and the piece sounds better. And then there are all these little passages. Those are just not important. They're throwaway. You got to play them. You have to play them beautifully, but you don't play them with this kind of same intensity or direction that you do with the rest of the melody. They're kind of like an afterthought. So you got to sort of give these different parts of the music more or less importance, and it starts to structure the way your etude sounds. Okay? Hope this was helpful. See you in the next video.